did a great job with the Cubs. You started the seventh inning stretch.
Correct.
Celebrity sing-along.
Mm-hmm.
Great idea.
Who was the first
that.
celebrity? Do you
The
remember?
first person ever to sing was Harry's wife. It was Dutchie Carey. And then I think the second one was Ray Meyer. And then it grew to national celebrities. We had everybody, over the years. The famous one, of course, being Ozzy Osbourne. And
Mike Ditka.
Mike Ditka probably is the guy that put it on the map. But you had every imaginable celebrity that you could think of, from this generation. Jeremy Piven, John Cusack, Jim Belushi. You had, we had in 1 week, we had Mickey Rooney, Ann Margaret, and Jerry Lewis. So this thing really took on national scope. The idea was that you've got this natural interlude during the game. So people really wanted that seventh inning stretch singer. They wanted them to be bad. That was the beauty of it. The reason we would sell the expectation that these people would say they're nervous, and I would say, well, here's the concept. If you're a comedian, how would you feel so comfortable if you went on stage that if you bombed, they'd love it? Well, here, if you're a poor singer or forget the words, like Jeff Gordon did, it's history for some of these people. So we were able to get the biggest list of celebrities this side of the Jay Leno show right here in Chicago. So I think for people coming into town, it was kind of a validation of their affinity for the Cubs.
Shows that you draw Cubs fans around the country,
Really,
too.
it does. It does. I've said this before. I think really being a Cub fan is like, it's a religious experience. You're so committed to that franchise. It's if it takes forever, it's unconditional love. It's till death do us part. I'm with you no matter what. I learned a lot of great life lessons from being over there.
So, what else did you do in marketing that's kind of famous? Because I know there's one or two more things.
The Cubs convention, which extended the life of the season. I really never understood. When I was hired by the Cubs, the one question that they asked me, we have plenty of candidates for this position. What would you do that would be different? And I said, I really never understood in our industry, in sports, why you only market the product 7 or 8 months a year. Why don't you market it 12 months a year? Why do you just turn the light out and here come the Bulls and here come the Bears and here come the Blackhawks? So we created this event in the middle of winter called the Cubs Convention, and now this next one coming up will be the 25th anniversary. So it made it a 12-month marketing cycle. We're doing the same thing here with the Blackhawks. The Beanie Baby thing is the one that everybody points to. I think that I was able to get through at the time when the Beanie Baby craze hit, that this was at its apex. And I think that this was probably, this side of the hula hoop, one of the most generational phenomenons, cultural phenomenons of all time. And I was able to get in to see Ty Warner. He wouldn't see anybody. He wouldn't see anybody. I was able to talk my way in to get to see him. And everybody in the world wanted to have a partnership with Ty, because it was shortly after the baseball strike, and they wanted a younger audience. They wanted the audience to come back. And we wound up partnering with them. I believe we had 14 events. All of them were sellouts. And all throughout baseball, there were lines around the stadiums 2-3 times over with young kids, waiting in line for whatever Beanie Baby it might be that night. So probably the thing I'm the most proud of with the Cubs is the people that I hired. We hired great people over there. We had 24 attendance records in 24 years, and that was great. And we played in the postseason 5 times, which was great. Worked very closely with Harry Carey for 12 years, which was 14 years, which was really an honor, and closely with Steve Stone and the relationship with the players. And really, even at this stage, it's almost impossible for me to believe I'm not there, and have a great relationship with everybody.
So, that brings us up to today. Mr. Wirtz dies, his son takes over. How did all this come about? Did they call you?
I received a phone call as I was driving down the Kennedy in early November of 2007. Now, we had just been swept out of the playoffs by the Arizona Diamondbacks. It was very, very painful. It was my first full year as president of the Cubs. And I received a phone call from someone who said, hi, said his name and said, I'm representing the Wirtz family, and Rocky Wirtz, chairman of the Blackhawks, would like to get together with you. So I said, well, it's ironic that you would call, because I'd like to connect with Mr. Wirtz. A, I wanted to express my condolences on the loss of his father, and B, I wanted to wish him well because I'm a Blackhawks fan, and I hope they turn it around, because at this point, they had pretty much hit bottom. The fans were indifferent. I think they would have preferred hatred, because at least with hatred there's an emotion. They were indifferent. The fan base didn't care. So I said, well, I'm going to Florida on Saturday. This might have been Thursday. I'm going to Florida on Saturday. Could you please tell Mr. Wirtz when I come back, I'll give him a call, and sometime in the near future we can connect. He said, I'll pass that on to Mr. Wirtz. The cell phone rang about 30 seconds later. Same gentleman, he said, Rocky would like to know if you could meet with him before you go to Florida. So I'm from Chicago. The guy's name is Rocky. He really wants to meet with me. It's urgent. So I didn't understand the urgency, but I thought maybe he might just want to say, look, I'm new to this. Can you help me out, or is there any advice you could give me, or anybody you would know to hire? So Rocky and I met at Champs in Schaumburg, and about an hour into it, he said, I'm going to lose all my leverage when I tell you this, but I want you to run the Blackhawks. So I had a feeling that was the direction it was going early in our conversation, and I said, Rocky, I've got a pretty good job right now. I've got a really good one with, I'm from Chicago, I'm from the city, I'm president of the Cubs, I really like what I do. Why would I leave the Cubs to come to the Blackhawks, recognizing that this would be the challenge of a lifetime, which it has proven to be. And he said some things that I wanted to hear. Complete independent authority. Start from scratch. Nobody's sacred. The only direction is our goal is to win the Stanley Cup. It's going to take a while to rebuild this franchise, but you're going to have all my support, and it's a blank canvas, and it's all yours. And other elements of the conversation developed, and we were there for 5 hours. And I remember at the time my cell phone going off, and it was my wife kept calling. She thought this was going to be lunch, and now it's 5.5 hours. And in the background, while this is going on, it's the Illinois beating Ohio State in the background. We're at this bar. So he is a great salesman. He might be the best salesman I've ever seen. So I actually came to the meeting thinking about some things I could do to help him hire the right person, and I'm leaving there saying they just offered me the job to run the Blackhawks. So I said, well, you have to go through a process. You have to call Tribune Company and ask for permission. He said, I'll do that Monday. And once I get permission, I'm going to fax an offer over to you. I was in Florida. He called and got permission, and he faxed an offer to me. And I remember sitting outside of, I was at a resort, Walt Disney World, and I recognized that probably in the next 48 hours my life was going to change forever if I decided to do this.